Hi, Archie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
I am going to get rid of our blue star. And then we're going to see, because I can see here that we are starting in the middle of a sentence. I'm just going to go back and see what happened here. So it looks like we were taking a chapter where we were not finding out what was happening here to Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy. Instead, it said, meanwhile, on planet Ratos, and then it tells us what's happening to Thea and Geronimo and Trap and Professor Greenfur. And then we're going to go back, I think, and find out what's happening to Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy. So here on planet Ratos, Thea and Geronimo really wanted to leave right away and go help or find out what's happening with Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy. But, whoops, this gooey mass, right? The pink lake started oozing out and coming over and laughing at them. And he said, ha, ha, ha. He said, I am the great blob. I bet you didn't know what was happening, right? I'll explain it to you, you silly mice. And then he says, there's no such thing as pink mouseoids. Oh my goodness, do you remember those characters that came over with the pink tetrastellium that looked like pink characters? And the author called them pink mouseoids. Now he's saying, there's no such thing. They don't even exist. He says, the ones you met on your spaceship were parts of me. Ha, ha, ha. I, the great blob, that must be his name, the great blob, have the power to transform myself. Remember the word transform. The author loves this word. We see it all the time. It means to change into. He can transform himself or change into anything. I can even separate pieces of my immense body. The word immense here means very, very big, humongous, huge. And they may look different, but they are still part of me. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Mousey meteorites. Oh, here's some alliteration. We've got mousey and meteorites. I was squeakless with fright. Well, do you remember what the author means when he says squeakless? We've got the L, huh?
Yes, squeak.
Yeah. What would we say in English? In English, we would say speechless. I didn't make a very good E. Speech, you know, I didn't leave myself very much room to write less. Speechless. And so the suffix, this right here, that LESS, that's the suffix. That's the letters we put at the end of the word. Speechless means I can't even speak. I am without speech. I can say nothing. My mouth is hanging open. My jaw dropped. It's like, I don't know what to say. That means we're so surprised. We're so surprised or we're so scared. In Geronimo's case, it says he was speechless with fright. That means he was so scared he could not even speak. And then Professor Greenfur has something to say. He says, of course, exclaimed Professor Greenfur as he slapped his forehead like this in disbelief. Disbelief means he can't even believe it. So we see here the prefix DIS comes before the word belief. Belief means what is it that we believe? What do we think is true? Dis means not. So it means I can't believe it. So you can see him slapping his head like, of course. Unlike me, that means not like Geronimo, he understood everything. Okay, so if he understands everything and he's not like Geronimo, that means Geronimo doesn't understand very much at all. But Professor Greenfur, he understands everything. You, he says to the great blob, you are a fluid and shape-shifting life form. So a form of life, something that is alive. Fluid means it can move and take the shape of whatever it wants to. It can take the shape, like inside my Perrier bottle, the Perrier is a fluid. It moves and it takes the shape of whatever. So now it's taking the shape of the top, right? It can take the shape of whatever we put it in. That means it's a fluid. Shape shifting means it can change its shape. So it's a fluid, the great blob is a fluid, shape-shifting life form. And the great blob answers him. He goes, ha, ha, ha. And then he's bragging. Bragging means he's saying, I'm better than you. Bragging is something someone does when they are proud or arrogant, when they think they are better than you, and they want to show off. They want to say, see how good I am. They're bragging. And then he says, exactly. I sent pieces of myself up to your spaceship in the form of, we'll go back to that picture in a minute, in the form of pink tetrastellium. Oh, you are correct. So in this box is a piece of the great blob. Then, in the middle of the night, the tetrastellium morphed, that's another word for transformed or changed, and escaped. And now it has taken control of your ship. He says, oh, I am so, so wicked. Wicked means evil. All right, before we keep going here, let's first go back and take a look at this page. So here's the great blob. And you can see that the great blob keeps little pieces of him are still him. So all of these things are just little pieces of him. And all of them are saying, I am the great blob, 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 I am the great blob. They're all part of him, okay? So he thinks that is just hilarious. He thinks that is so funny. Now, a couple words that we want to see here are morphed, which means changed into. Wicked means evil. That means absolutely bad, no good at all. And he has taken control of the ship, of Geronimo's ship. So now Geronimo says, how is that possible? I exclaimed. And the pink blob, the great blob, says, you don't believe me? He replied. Look, cheese brain. Oh, he's calling people names. That's not very nice. See how I transformed into pink mouseoids? With that, the great blob momentarily, this word momentarily means just for a moment, okay, just for a short period of time, took the shape of the pink mouseoids who had brought the pink tetrastellium to the mouse star 1. Then just as quickly, he turned back into a pink puddle. So he showed them. He goes, look, here I am being the pink mouseoids. Don't I look like those people you saw come onto your ship? And then, snap your fingers, he's back to being like the pink lake, the blob, the slime, the just goo, the puddle. Thea says, but why do you want to take control of our spaceship? Thea asked. Because this planet is boring, boring, boring. the great blob gurgled. That's how he talks, he gurgles. I bet he sounds really funny. I want a powerful spaceship like yours so I can get out of here. I will invade every galaxy in the universe. Remember, we talked about how there are many galaxies in the universe. So many planets in a solar system that go around one star, many solar systems in one galaxy, and many galaxies in the universe. He wants to invade or kind of attack, go into every galaxy in the universe. And he says, I will continue to transform myself until the whole universe is populated only by me. Oh my goodness. He sounds crazy. All right, populated means he will be the only thing that exists. He will be the only life form. He will be the only living creature in every planet or on every planet, in every galaxy, in the whole universe. And so let's take a look here. We talked about the word invade. I want to show you something with the word populated. Populated is the word we're looking at. Populated. There's another word that sounds almost the same, but I'm going to change the suffix. Do you know what is the suffix of that word? Population.
Population.
Yeah, that's the suffix right there. It says shun. Population is, it tells us about all the people that live in one place, right? So the population of Taiwan is how many people live in Taiwan. Do you know how many people live in Taiwan? It's about this number. And so in English, we say that is 24 million people. So that is the population of Taiwan. That's how many people live in one place. Populated is a verb, and it's telling us about the people who live in one place. All right, so Geronimo says, well, actually, he's not speaking yet. He said, this is what he does. He goes, I shuddered. Shuddered is like this. Oh, what a horrible thought. Thea said, you'll never do it, Thea cried. We will stop you. And the blob says, and how do you plan to stop me, you miserable little rodents? Well, he's not very nice. That word miserable is not a nice word to call someone. Miserable means, well, it can mean a couple different things. If you're talking about how someone's feeling, like you say, how do you feel? And I say, I feel miserable. That means I don't feel good. Someone might say they feel miserable if they're really sick. They just feel like not good. In this sentence, when he's saying you miserable little rodents, he's making fun of them, and he's saying you are worth nothing. You have no value. You are so easy to make fun of because you are worth nothing. But his sister, Thea says, or Geronimo's sister, Thea says, don't underestimate us. Now, this is a great word. Underestimate means don't think that we are not worth, how do I explain this word? I think I have to break the word down because it's a very big word. So let's see, there's a prefix under, and then there's a word estimate. Estimate is when you decide how much something is worth. Okay, that's one meaning of estimate. So estimate is when you kind of make a decision or a guess about how much something is worth. So underestimate is to decide that something is not worth very much. But when she says don't underestimate us, she's saying we are worth more than you think. You might think that we are not worth very much, but you will be wrong. You will make a mistake because we are worth more than you realize, right? So she's saying don't make the mistake of thinking that we are worth not very much because you will be wrong. We are worth a lot. We are strong. We are a team. We are not easy for you to just get rid of us. And then she says, the universe is full of danger, but there are lots of good creatures out there too. And many are our friends. The great blob just laughed. Perhaps these friends of yours exist, but they will never find you. He cackled. Cackled is a word that we can use for said, but it means laughed in a really evil and mean way, like ha 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 ha. So it's a laugh. Yes, it's a laugh that's sort of an evil laugh. And then he says, and do you know why? Because you will stay imprisoned here forever. Oh, this sounds so scary. Imprisoned means you will be trapped here. You will be stuck here. You will never be allowed to leave. You will never escape. You will be stuck here forever and no one will ever find you. He's saying you might have friends out there in the universe that will help you, but they can only help you if they know where you are, and they will not know where you are, and you will not be able to leave. He thinks he has the best plan. He thinks it is not possible for them to defeat him or for anyone to stop his evil plan. He thinks that he is very confident that his evil plan will work. But we know something about Geronimo, Stilton, and Thea. We know that they are smart and brave and they can take care of themselves. They will figure this out. So let's turn the page and see what happens. We've got a new chapter. This new chapter is called Whoosh, Whoosh, Boing. Huh, what a funny name for a chapter. Whoosh, whoosh, boing. All right, well, I'm really glad we're going to go back and see what's happening to Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy. And we know that because it says right here, meanwhile. And when we see that word meanwhile, it means that we are going to find out what is happening at the same time. Okay, so at the same time that Thea and Geronimo are talking to the great blob on planet Ratos, at the same time back on the ship, now we're going to find out what's happening to Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy. On the Mouse Star 1, the gooey pink monster grabbed Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy by their tails. And he says, I am the great blob. You know what's so interesting about this, Archie, is that the great blob is now talking in two different places at the same time.
And they both say, I am the great blob. They both say.
That's right. Because the great blob says that they are the same creature, the same thing. They're not two different things. They're the same thing who can somehow talk at the same time in different places. That's hard to understand. He shouted, no more questions, you nosy little mouselets. You know, this word nosy is a word we use to describe someone who they're very curious and they want to know things. But when we say that someone is being nosy, we are not giving them a compliment. We are saying something about them that is kind of criticizing them, saying something about them that's not very good. We're saying you want to know things that you should not want to know. It's not your business. It's not important for you to know this. And it's kind of a way of saying you should mind your own business. You are being too nosy. Yesterday, we talked about the word judgmental, and we said that Trap was being judgmental of Geronimo. He was saying that Geronimo is worries too much or grumbles more than anyone else in the world. Well, when you call someone nosy, you are judging them. You are being judgmental, and you are saying that you want to know things that are none of your business to know. Like you're being too curious, and so you're not complimenting the person. And so the great blob is saying to Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy, you are being nosy. You are asking questions that I am not going to answer. And so he wants them to stop asking questions. Hologramics suddenly appeared in the control room. What's going on here? Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy used the distraction to free themselves from the pink blob. Okay, so a distraction is when something happens that makes everyone stop paying attention to what they were looking at and all of a sudden look at something else and notice something else happening. And so for just a moment during the distraction, no one's paying attention anymore to what they were all doing. Their attention, what they're thinking about, is turns to something else that just came in the room. So, or something that someone else is doing. So hologramics shows up, and so everyone turns to look at him. And during that moment, the great blob is not looking at them. So his attention is on hologramics, and that gives Benjamin and Bugsy Wugsy a chance to get away from him. And then they say, "Let's get out of here," Bugsy Wugsy yelled. The great blob chased them through the hallways of the Mouse Star 1. I don't see how fast the great blob can run, can you? Doesn't he just kind of ooze and slide? I'm not sure how fast he can run. But, well, maybe I'm wrong. Look at him. It looks almost like he has legs and feet here, doesn't it? It does look like, it looks kind of like he's running pretty fast. And here's hologramics, Bugsy Wugsy and Benjamin, and someone saying, "Let's go."
It's Bugsy Wugsy.
She says that. Well, Benjamin says, "Quick, let's squeeze into the air ducts." The air ducts would be like
this, like the part 1 of Geronimo. He used the air ducts to come up to the what's it? The control room.
Yeah, so it's almost like the elevator shaft, right? Like a tube, you know, with space in it. You can go through the tube. Robotics helped them unscrew the air vent. Then Benjamin, Bugsy Wugsy, and the little robot squeezed into the spaceship's slippery metal pipes. Whoosh, whoosh, boing. Oh, that's where the title of the chapter comes from. Wow, Benjamin squeaked. This is better than the slides at Astral Park. I think she's thinking of maybe a
astronaut park.
Yeah, like an amusement park where there's roller coasters and slides and fun things. Maybe, but I'm getting covered in dents, the robot grumbled. So here you can see them sliding through. This is the air duct. So it's like a tube that they're going through, that they're sliding through. The three found themselves in a dark storage room. "Where are we?" Bugsy Wugsy asked. "I can't see anything." Robotics quickly rearranged his bolts. I've got it, he replied. A moment later, the robot's eyes lit up like two lamps. So he turned his eyes into kind of like flashlights so they can have light and see where they are. What is this place? Benjamin asked, looking around. The storage room was full of large crates. A crate would be like a big box. So here we can see where they are. In the storage room, you're going to have lots of shelves. And these are crates right here that look like boxes with X's on them. Those are crates. Here is robotics. You know, I thought it was hologramics, but it was robotics that escaped with them from the control room. So robotics says, we're in the storeroom for the spaceship's spare parts. Spare means extra. So these are extra parts. Robotics explain. So storeroom, it's like the pantry for food. It's like a big room that's almost like a closet where you can put, or a storage room where you can store things that, or keep things that you might need later. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound coming from one of the large crates. Talk, talk, talk. Robotics tapped the crate with his robotic arm. Tick, tick, tick. Immediately, there was a response. Talk, talk, talk. Bugsy Wugsy grew impatient. Robotics, please stop all that. So we're not going to turn the page yet because I want to show you this word.
I know what I see.
Im is the prefix and patient is the root word. Im is a prefix that means not. So impatient is not patient. That means we don't want to wait. Patient is when we are willing to wait for something with a good attitude. Impatient, we still have to wait, but we don't have a good attitude about it. So she says, robotics, please stop all that tick, tick, ticking and talk, talk, talking. The great blob will find us. But robotics replies, I'm not the one going talk, talk, talk. Robotics replied, so who could it be? Suddenly, there was a voice from inside the crate. Help, the voice squeaked. Get me out of here. Look who it is. Dun, 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 dun. It was Sally DeWrench. Boy, we haven't seen her for a long time. I kind of forgot all about her. Where do you think she's been? Robotics extended his robotic hammer and chisel, and a moment later, he had opened the crate. Sally jumped out. Finally, she shouted. What happened? Benjamin asked. Shocked. Shocked means he can't believe it. He is so surprised. He just can't believe it. It's like again, speechless, right? I just can't believe what happened. And then she says, I have been shut in there for hours, Sally explained. Explained is when she gives a reason. After dinner, I was in my cabin, that's her bedroom, getting ready for bed when an enormous, which we know is enormous, pink gooey blob attacked me and shut me up in this crate. But before she could finish her story, the storeroom door was suddenly flung open. That means the door opened very quickly. Oh my goodness. Okay, a couple of things I want to point out here is you see this word I have?
Yes.
Actually, it's I've. Remember that's two words.
I have.
That's right, I have. And we can get rid of the HA and turn it into that apostrophe.
I've.
Say I've, okay? the other one I wanted to show you, we've been doing a lot of, we've seen a lot of apostrophes here. And there was another one I wanted to show. Here, the apostrophe S is the word is, okay? There is. There is no such thing. And then, well, let's look at this sentence. This is what I wanted to show you. It says, and now it's something taken control of your ship. Would we say it is taking control of your ship?
Yes.
No, we wouldn't say it is taking control. Do you know what we would say? It.
It.
I'm going to write it down here for you. It has. It has taken control of your ship. So here, the it apostrophe S, the apostrophe here is taking the place of the HA. And see how there's an S at the end of has? That's this S. So it apostrophe S in this sentence means it has. That's a really tricky one because we don't usually do that. Usually when we have it apostrophe S, it means it is. But there, and now it's taking control of your ship, that means it has taken control of your ship. So we have to be careful with those apostrophes. Okay, so, and then we read the chapter whoosh, whoosh, boing. All right, I am going to hit stop share because we are finished with part 4. And tomorrow we will start part 5. That is the last chapter, the last part for this book, okay?
Yes.
All right, so let's say so long.
So long, shuddered chip.
Bye, Archie.